Welcome to Issues and Answers with your host, Diane. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host, Diane.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane. It's that time of year. Well, here in New Mexico, it's always that time of year. It's fiesta time. Either Santa Fe Fiestas, Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, your fiesta in your community, Los Lunas Fiestas, Las Cruces Fiestas, Mora Fiestas. It's always fiestas time. Well, especially today on Issues and Answers, it is New Mexico Fiestas. We're going to be speaking with author John de Aragon. It's his latest publication. Latest of how many, Diane? 33 publications, mainly about the history of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the other communities in our state. So we're going to have a treat for you today. We're taking you on a whirlwind of New Mexico Fiestas with John de Aragon. Stay with us for this treat. We'll be back right after this.
Hey America, now there's a place where we can join our voice. Real America's Voice. Real America's Voice is coming to a town near you with a grassroots approach, bringing the real voice of America together. Real America's Voice is growing our family of networks across the country, and soon you could be part of that change. Download the Real America's Voice app and join other Americans just like you across the country, coming together for real.
Fiesta time in your household. Here in our studio, it's fiesta time. I'm so happy to have John de Aragon with me again in the studio. He's written 33 books, but only been on my show just a few times. Why is that, John?
Because I'm busy writing.
You're busy writing. Your latest publication, New Mexico Fiestas.
Yes.
I mean, here in the land of enchantment, 4 cultures, multicultures, so many different fiestas, so many different parties. Mm-hmm. How did you come up with the idea of writing a book about New Mexico Fiestas?
Well, for one thing, I grew up with fiestas in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and throughout the state of New Mexico also. And I saw that there weren't any books that were published on fiestas in New Mexico or festivities or celebrations.
Well, because we don't have any, I guess,
yes.
Right? There was a lack of celebrations to write about.
Well, actually, no. There were celebrations and festivals have been going on in New Mexico for hundreds of years.
I knew that. I was kidding you.
Yeah.
But it was surprising, no books.
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Because this is the best book to write about. I mean, how much fun could this be? And how much history is there?
When I started mentioning it to people, they were all excited about the idea and that there wasn't anything available on that subject and what fiestas take place in communities throughout the state and what type of celebrations. And so the more I looked into it, the more I learned because of, there are celebrations for marriages, there are celebrations for wedding. I mean, like this, I was saying, weddings and for baptisms and confirmations and
Sweet 16.
That's a popular one over here in New Mexico now.
I think each pueblo.
La quinceañera.
Quinceañeras and
yes.
pueblos have all these different feast days and things, which are considered fiestas.
Yes,
Fiestas
they
Day
are.
of the Saints, right?
Yeah.
So when did you start your research on this? Well, probably since you were born, because you probably had a baptismal fiesta.
The first fiesta in Las Vegas, New Mexico, the 4th of July fiesta that we always went to over there. That was celebrated annually. It was a huge event, and then at one point when I became an adult, I became the one of the coordinators of the fiesta. I served as the Fiesta magazine publisher. The editor, and I helped to develop that. And
that was in Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas, that was a huge project. We published 25,000 issues that were distributed throughout New Mexico about the fiesta, so it was widely attended. And it's been widely attended every single year.
And that's mainly 4th of July in Las Vegas?
Yes, the 4th of July, what they call the 4th of July fiesta. And
in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Haven't been there. New Mexico.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea when it began. Probably back in the 19.
Well, what do you mean you have no idea? You're the author of this book. You probably researched it.
I don't know an exact date because it's been going on for so many years. It started out in the 19th century.
But you talked to people about the fact you probably looked for a book, didn't find one, decided. So when did you decide to start writing?
when I finished my last book. I published a book on Native American history in New Mexico. And then I came up with this idea, and I approached the editorial board of the History Press about the possibility of writing a book on that, and they were all excited about the idea.
The editorial board of
History Press.
Oh.
It's a national publishing company that's located in South Carolina.
That's what the History Press is, the one who published this book.
Yes, and just,
So
several,
was the
several of my
research 2
books.
years, a little less than 2 years?
I have notes that I have compiled through the years on my research on different subjects, and so I already had information that and photographs, because I have a large photograph collection on New Mexico history and material that I had at my disposal. Plus, I have my own library at home on New Mexico books. So
Most of your, well, not most, you write nonfiction and fiction.
yes.
Okay, because some is historical, your fiction, and then nonfiction.
I write poetry. I write no other genre, nonfiction, fiction.
So we're going to delve through this book. Again, it's purchasable. Is that a word? Purchasable. It's on sale.
Yes.
It's through the History Press.
And it's available now throughout the world. It's nationally and throughout the world. So
Throughout the world,
and people
sure.
already know about the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. So
That's in here. So in your research, we're going to talk about the different chapters, but what would you say was surprising to you in your research of this, of fiestas in New Mexico?
how prevalent they have been taking place in the state. Like the Santa Fe Fiesta probably has like 300-year history. And so I researched the Santa Fe Fiesta further, because some people had written a little bit about it, about its origins and development. And so I found out that Governor Don Diego de Vargas, for example, when he was governor of the territory in New Mexico, made a proclamation that there should be an annual event taking place in Santa Fe back in the 1700s, late 1700s. 1600s.
1600s?
Yeah, 1692. Yeah, when he came in with the
1692?
Yes, with the recolonization of New Mexico.
How far? They were just looking to survive back then.
Yes.
And he has a proclamation to have a fiestas every year.
To celebrate, because they celebrated since the first colonists came into New Mexico. I wrote about that. In 1598, they came in. They had a huge celebration about coming into a new land and settlers and colonizers and.
So kind of like really the first Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Of the pilgrims coming in, but this is the fiesta. This is the first fiesta, or Thanksgiving, a celebration, but they call it fiesta. It's not a Thanksgiving, right?
Well, they had a day of Thanksgiving also, so a Thanksgiving feast during that period.
But that was it. That was a little surprising or that's what you researched. How would you find that? How did you find that out?
There's Viagra. There was a historian and a writer for the colonization, and so he documented things and published a book, and it was published the same year as in 1610, the same year as Don Quixote de la Mancha was published by Cervantes in Spain. But not very many people knew about this book that he published about New Mexico and
in 1610.
In 1610,
they published a book about New Mexico.
Yes.
They published it in Spain.
In Spain, yes.
How did you find this?
That's been written about. There was somebody that translated Miguel Encinas, was one of the translators of the original book into English, and that was published by one of the presses here in the state. Yeah.
One of the what presses? Okay. So you did your research through the New Mexico State Archives or through the University of New Mexico Archives?
Through any source that was available, I went through. The museum archives in Santa Fe have been very generous with their time. And
who is that?
The archives in Santa Fe. At the
State Archives?
State Archives, yeah. And
Which a lot of people don't know about, the State Archives.
That's correct, yes.
Right over on Cerritos Road, a beautiful building that the public can go and visit.
But in my case, since I've been writing since I was in my 20s, I've written to them and asked them for information on a certain thing, and they've assigned researchers on their own to search out the information for me and to send it to me. They did that for this book also. Felicia Lujan, that works over there.
Pardon?
Felicia Lujan.
Felicia Lujan, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
She was the director.
Yeah.
I believe she just recently retired.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to her.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me something else surprising that you didn't know about the fiestas.
How the Native American community here in New Mexico views fiestas, and how they celebrate it. And like you were saying, they have churches throughout New Mexico that are dedicated to a specific saint. So they have their saint feast days that they celebrate. And Joe Sando, that I wound up meeting personally, he was an historian for the Native American community, the Pueblo community. Extremely well known and published several books on his own. Was generous with his time and discussing things with me, and I had already talked with him in the past. And
well, you knew about feast days, but what was surprising when you did the research for your book about what you learned about the Native American festivals?
How prevalent they are among the Native Americans, and then since New Mexico has become multicultural, since the territorial days became multicultural. Now we have Afromundo that's located here in Albuquerque, and this is the Black community that has a large festival that they produce it every year now. Yeah, that's becoming well known throughout the United States and internationally also. So we have events that are celebrated throughout New Mexico that people actually make a trip as tourists to come to New Mexico to learn more about the feast days, the fiestas.
And that's what I guess I found from tourists. They come and they like going to the feast days. And I live here and have gone to, I can count them on my head, but the tourists come here and they say, oh, we're going to go to this Pueblo's fiesta.
And it's fun and happy days, as you know. People come for enjoyment, entertainment, and so the fiesta councils in the different communities, because each community has their own fiesta council that meets regularly and plans events every year, like the Tome Fiesta and the San Felipe de Neri Fiesta in Old Town.
San Felipe de Neri in Old Town. Do you know what time of year that is?
I have it in my book.
Okay, it's in the book. Look at the book.
I have the last chapter is on some of the events that take place and the dates
But we knew about that. Okay, so what else did you learn that was surprising to you that you didn't know? I mean, being a historian, you knew a lot of these things.
I learned
John de Aragon, but tell us, our audience.
I learned about on the cover. There's Los Abeitas. The group was performing throughout the northern part of the state, and they performed regularly at events and festivals in the north. For example, Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Mora, and all the different various communities, including Taos, and they were invited to the Smithsonian to perform over there, but they were busy performing, so they at an event, so they considered that more important than going to the Smithsonian.
Wow.
So, but during World War II, several of the brothers, because it was a family group of musicians that performed, and that had learned how to play musical instruments in their own families through their parents, and then they continued the tradition. So during World War II, they enlisted to go overseas, and there's a ballad that was written by one of them that caught my attention, and there's something that.
And then what was the name of the family again?
Los Abeitas.
Los Abeitas?
Yes.
From Las Vegas?
From A little village outside of Las Vegas.
And this is a ballad they wrote before going to World War II?
Rubel Abeta is the one that wrote this. And
Okay.
so he put his guitar behind, and he trained to serve in the military. And he wrote this ballad.
Okay.
He said, the ballad of the United States, in Spanish, El Corrido de los Estados Unidos. And he performed it for KFUN radio station when it was first opened in Las Vegas, New Mexico, in the 1940s. To the United States I composed this ballad, so that you remember me. For tomorrow I leave to serve in the military to fight for my country. We must build our forces with arms and soldiers. I want the enemy to hear my song and to hear it from a cannon burst when it is fired by our nation's troops. Troops of the United States, as well as the Allies. I have them in my heart and in my soul, that no treason is formed during this horrible war. To the fathers with families, we give many thanks that have sons over there, honoring their country, defending their flag, fighting the Germans. Goodbye, my beloved family, sisters, cousins, uncles, and aunts. I entrust you with my mother. It's the only favor I ask. I bid farewell. I'm off to war for the United States. To this Hispanic troubadour bids you farewell, giving many thanks for listening to me. I'm ready to serve you. You'll never find me tired. I offer my life for my country. Now I'm off as a soldier. And that was in 1942.
And he put that to music.
Yes. And
Is that what he's saying at KUNM?
Yeah,
Or
at KFUN in Las
Yes.
Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah, and at the same time that the radio station went on the airwaves, that's when he sang it, and it became popular, and was played throughout New Mexico during World War II, and so it was a popular they call in Spanish corrido, a ballad. And that because they went off to go out to fight during World War II, and then when they returned, they continued. He took up the guitar again, and so the family, as far as I know, sang and different events for like 60 years or so. 50 or 60 years.
60 years.
Yeah.
To this day, Ray John?
No,
To this
they passed away, of course, years ago.
No, but the Beta family continued on the tradition of singing, I
No,
imagine.
once they were gone, that was it. You know, yeah.
So how did you find this information out?
Because my wife is close friends with the daughter of the main gentleman that's pictured on the front cover there. That's the one that's pictured right there. So
No, that's
and
a tidbit
those
that
were
you
his
don't.
brothers and
I know
and
a
a
fiesta
sister.
in Las Cruces. What was it they made? I worked down in El Paso in a TV station and covered Las Cruces. I'm saying in the late 80s. But they had a fiesta where they made the largest enchilada. Did you find that out in your book? They had a Las Cruces festival, and it was making the world's largest. Was in the Guinness Book of World Records.
and it keeps getting bigger every year.
And they served it to eat.
Yeah, that was the fun part. Yeah. So people going to the fiestas, of course, food was the main important part of any cultural event, and so I wrote about that in my book, Fabiola Cabeza de Vaca. We Fed Them Cactus was one of our popular books in New Mexico.
Cactus?
We Fed Them Cactus was the title of the book. But she wrote about festivals that were in her community of Trementina, New Mexico, near Las Vegas, and she published some cookbooks also. So I included her in one of the chapters on. So I included foods that they served for the different events.
Isn't it kind of beans, rice, and enchiladas? I mean, tell me what else.
The bizcochitos and the natillas, it's the pudding, and there are different recipes for foods for different times of the year.
Like what?
For Christmas, for example, they have pozole, and then of course always the red chili and the green chili. That's
Now, pozole, isn't that mainly for New Year's Eve? Christmas would be what? What did you find out?
pozole also for Christmas. People look forward to that time of the year, so that they serve the tradition. Well, that's the traditional for the time of the year.
So pozole, tamales.
And bizcochitos, yeah, the cookies that are unique to New Mexico, yeah. And buñuelos. The buñuelos are kind of like sopapillas that people like to eat at the restaurants. So,
Other than Christmas, what other time of year? I know, of course, in Santa Fe, which I think is so unusual. 4th of July. You talked about Las Vegas 4th of July, big fiesta in Santa Fe.
yeah, the
They have
Santa
to-
Fe Fiesta.
Well, no, for 4th of July.
Oh,
They have
yes.
the pancake breakfast on the plaza. And I'm thinking in 90-degree temperature, you want to go eat some big, heavy pancakes, but that's a big community event on the 4th of July to go to the plaza and eat pancakes.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it sounds a little unusual myself, but that's been a tradition there for years. What other foods? Other parts of the year other than Christmas?
There are, well, of course, for the 1st of July now we've become more Americanized, so they serve hot dogs and and hamburgers.
And pancakes in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Santa Fe.
So that's so they have.
Easter? Is that? Of course, Easter, did you count the going to, what is it called? Chimayo? The pilgrimage.
I couldn't. I mentioned some events, but I didn't go into them in detail because of the space that was allowed to me and the number of photographs to include in the book also. They had limited me to 50 illustrations, but I got them to increase it to 60. But
They want to live it. So tell me a little bit about some of the illustrations you have in here. You had something else marked as well.
I wrote about Bayou Seco. That's a popular group that performs in Silver City and the southern part of the state, and they come into the different areas of New Mexico also. And this is a group that the reason they're called Bayou Seco is became Bayou because they came from the south.
It was dry. It was
Moved
very
in
dry.
Mexico, and they loved it over here, so they stayed here. And they formed their group. And what is neat about Bayou Seco is that they perform traditional Spanish colonial New Mexico music and dances, and they actually teach it to others. And then they get other musicians and performers to play along with them. There are fiddlers and violinists and.
And you say that's colonial type music?
Yes.
How would you describe that kind of music?
The music that the Spanish settlers brought in, that was preserved, and then it was enriched by other musics, like during the French takeover of Mexico. Some of the French waltzes and other and there were polkas also that came in and became part of the culture and music that were played at fiestas and events. And then when the Americans came in during the territorial period, they also brought their music, and that was incorporated also. So that's why I say that it became multicultural. And the neat part about Bayou Seco and other groups is that they try to perform that type of music so that it can be enjoyed and that the legacy continues.
And how did you hear about them? They're way down in
I actually got to
City.
see them. I got to go to when I was an educator, I got to go to a workshop, and they were performing there, and I was just stunned that they were playing original New Mexico music and singing the original songs in Spanish. So yeah, so I thought that was so neat, and we all enjoyed it so much as a part of the conference and workshop. That I never forgot them, and I had seen them about 40 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So then I contacted them and I said, I'm writing a book on New Mexico Fiestas. Would you like to be a part of it? And they were all overjoyed. And so they gave me all kinds of ideas and suggestions.
Great.
And there's a New Mexico icon named Antonia Polaka that performed and preserved the music of that period as well.
You have also here Spiritual Fiesta Mystique. Tell me a little bit about that. What's that?
The idea that about the celebrating the saints' days and like when they celebrate, for example, San Isidro, the Labrador, during the time when they're cleaning out the acequias, the ditches, and
there's a fiesta for that.
There's a fiesta for that also. So,
okay, that's kind of that's a little
spiritual
unusual.
Mystique.
Fiesta for cleaning out the ditch, cleaning out the pantry, cleaning out cleaning out from under
at the
your
same time and singing and having fun.
Have an excuse for a fiesta anytime. And I think also when you have it's fiestas, memories and resilience, meaning
there's preserved and it continues, and no matter going through World War II or other trying times, troublesome times, that there's still times to celebrate and be happy and
they keep up that tradition.
Yes.
Thank you, John de Aragon, for writing New Mexico Fiestas, a history of music, dance, and fandango. So if you want to know about the fandango, we touch upon the music and dance. It's right here. And again, this can be found at the History Press. I imagine online.
They're sold through Barnes & Noble. In fact, the copies that they had were sold out. And I noticed that they purchased another about 50 or 20 copies by New Mexico Book of the Undead.
Okay, so they got it.
So they have my books.
And we're going to talk about that next. Thank you again for being my guest. Thanks for KCHF TV for bringing you this program. It's all preserved now in black and white and color. New Mexico Fiestas. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Make it a great week with your family. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The program works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives. It provides the basics of child support, but goes further by helping parents step up to find better job opportunities that get them back on track to paying their monthly child support obligation. Find out how the Child Support Step Up program can help your modern family. Contact New Mexico Child Support today to learn more.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program or to purchase a copy of any Issues and Answers program, visit sunbroadcasting.org or call us at 505-345-1991.